What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Friday edition of Mile High Hockey. Drew Spivak, Will Peterson with you as always. And Drew, a little more pleasant start to the season for the Avalanche than it was last year. You know, you'll remember they were 0-4-0 through 4 games, 2-0-0. They get the dub on opening night against the Kings. And then we're going to focus more on last night, the home opener against the Utah Mammoth. Talk a little Kings as well. But Drew, I think the story of the game in my eyes was Scott Wedgewood. I mean, he had 31 saves. He was phenomenal last night, made a couple huge ones, brick wall type stuff. That's one goal in each of the first 2 games. So I have to ask, is there a little controversy brewing? Could Scott Wedgewood end up maybe getting more starts than anticipated once Mackenzie Blackwood is healthy?
I knew it was coming. I knew the goalie controversy thing was coming. But listen, what Scott Wedgewood is doing so far, it's been incredible. I mean, 56 saves on 58 shots. He's perfect at even strength. Both goals he's given up have been on the power play. It's been awesome to see what he's done in place of Mackenzie Blackwood. He's doing it really been with facing a lot of pressure. I think the Avalanche has spent more time in their defensive zone and the offensive zone so far in the first 2 games of this season. However, we can't get carried away. Scott Wedgewood is a really solid, good, really good backup goalie, however you want to say it.
Yep.
But there's a reason he's a backup. He's never started more than 28 games in an entire season. I think the last time he did was with Dallas. What was it, 22, 23, something like that? He's great in his role. What this all tells me is that he and the Avalanche are in like this kind of perfect position right now, because if Mackenzie Blackwood is out, which he's been prone to do throughout his career so far, he's obviously out right now. Who knows? He'll be back probably in the next week or two. I know he was skating yesterday morning during morning skate. But this tells me that the Avalanche can feel unbelievably confident that they can have a solid 1A, 1B combination and not have to worry about what you're getting on the back end, which, as we remember, is a far cry from what we saw last year. I remember how that last year started. I think it was 12 goals in the first 2 games between Georgiev and Ananen, and now you've given up 2 goals in the first 2 games. I mean, it's an incredible start. But I think getting to a goalie controversy is taking it a little bit too far right off the bat. It's great. It's awesome. I want to see him keep it up, but let's see what happens when Blackwood comes back. If we get to December or January and Blackwood's struggling, okay, then maybe I think it's time for that conversation. But right now, Scott Wedgewood is a great backup, and he's putting the Avalanche in a really good spot right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, obviously what Wedgewood's done in the first 2 games was awesome. He was great last night against the Mammoth. I mean, Jared Bednar even said it, that they had more dangerous chances than the Avalanche had when we chatted with him post-game. But yeah, I'm not going to sit here and go, Scott Wedgewood for starter, Scott Wedgewood in the playoffs. It's way too early. We're 1/41st of the way through the season. Not a mathematician, but that's about 2.5% of the regular season we've seen thus far. So yeah, I'm with you. It's a luxury, right? It's nice that, you know, in years past, the Avalanche starting goalie being banged up to start the season would have been this big deal, right? And if they had lost to the Kings 5-4 and then lost to the Mammoth 5-2, it would have been like, ugh, when's Mackenzie getting healthy? But now I think everyone sort of feels like, yeah, we want to see Mackenzie back, obviously, but there's not this panic of, is he coming back tomorrow? Is he coming back Monday? Like he could sit out all of October, and I think the Avalanche would be okay in the grand scheme of things. Not that anyone's rooting for that. But I did talk to Scott Wedgewood last night and said, you know, how much does this build your confidence, giving up only 1 goal in 2 games? And, you know, he said it's fun, obviously, and he likes playing in front of the home fans, and he loves the wedgie chants. I mean, ball last night, full wedgie, 18,000 people. It was awesome. But he did tell me, he said, you know, I play my same game every single time. And I like that too. He's old enough now. He's not old in real life. He's old in hockey life. He doesn't think he's auditioning for some starting gig in the future somewhere else. He knows his role. He's content in Colorado, and he thinks he can be a significant piece of a team that has championship aspirations.
And what a place to do it in, too, when you've got this defensive core that they have in front of them. And they haven't even played a good defensive game yet, if we're being totally honest. I mean, but when you've got guys like Cale Makar, Devon Taves, you know, Josh Manson, guys like that are more defensive-minded type players, you can feel confident knowing that I can go out every night and that these guys are going to not let me just get berated with high-quality, high-danger shots night in and night out. So it's really good to see that Wedgewood gets it. He's, 33 years old now. He's got a lot of confidence. Again, I think it's a luxury. I think that is the great word to use when you're talking about Scott Wedgewood. It's just a luxury to have a guy like him in net, knowing that, hey, whatever's going on with Blackwood, you've got something else you can rely on, something that the Avalanche really haven't had. I don't even know. I go back to even the Stanley Cup year. Did you feel incredibly confident with the backup situation at that point. I mean, it was good, it was solid, but I think they're in a better spot now with Wedgewood than they were even then.
Yeah, we got Pavel Francouz. We got the Frankie chance. We've moved on to Wedgie chance,
which is a better chance, by the way.
It is a better chance. So much more to unpack, though, from these first two games. Let's talk a little bit more about last night. I know Drew was locked in. I was there. The second period was tough to watch, if we're being honest. And Jared Bednar's press conference actually led with the poor second period, which generally after wins, you don't lead with the negative part, but it wasn't a good period from the Avs at all. The first period, really nice goal. That third line, Olofsson to Drury to Colton with an absolute snipe. And then I think one of the biggest developments, Drew, and I'm curious your thoughts, and I did ask Jared Bednar about this, was Gabe Landeskog. All of a sudden on PP1 there in the third period, power play 1, and he's in front of the net creating traffic on Nathan McKinnon's snipe that ultimately wins the game 2-1. What did you think of Gabe through 2 games? And also, Jared kind of told me, hey, it's really early. We're still experimenting. We're still looking around. But I think it's fairly telling that the captain was out there when Nathan found the back of the net, doing what he does best, creating traffic in the middle.
Yeah, and I think the encouraging thing for me is that, they haven't played a complete game yet. Really, they've honestly only played, 2 really good periods of hockey so far through 6 periods. I would say the second period the other night in LA, and I think the third period last night at home against Utah. I think when you play a team like Utah and the way they try to do things defensively, Utah knows that they don't have a ton of talent. They don't have the high-end talent that a team like Colorado has. So they've got to kind of muck up the neutral zone and force the Avalanche to dump and chase. The Avs don't want to do that.
No.
They're a high-skill, high-powered team that likes to move in transition. I mean, you look at 2 of their goals this year, the transition from the defense to offense, they go so quickly. But when you're playing a team like Utah that clogs up that neutral zone, you can't do that. Now, that's been one of the things that's frustrating with the Avalanche in the past couple of years is that when they get in a game like that, they don't want to play dump and chase. They want to be fancy and pretty and make it look good, which is all well and good. But guess what? When you get to the playoffs, you can't play those type of games. You're going to have to be better in neutral zone. You're going to have to dump and chase and be better like that. So I think they'll get it figured out. It's a tough opponent to play against like that, but they'll get it figured out. When you start talking about the power play, I did find it interesting seeing Gabe on that first unit last night. Now, he played I think 14 and a half minutes as opposed to a little bit over 11 like he did in game 1. So we saw his minutes increase. But what they need on this power play right now is a net front presence. They haven't had that so far because a lot of times they like to get too fancy with the puck. They do a lot of standing around. They try and pass kind of back and forth. They're not really moving the puck. They're not really skating the way they should.
Mm-hmm.
So to combat that, you want to have a net front presence to where you start shooting the puck a heck of a lot more on goaltenders like as opposed to what they have been doing. And Gabe Landeskog is that perfect net front presence. He's not afraid to get dirty, get the greasy goal, screen goaltenders, take, cross checks to the back in front of net. He's the perfect kind of guy that you want to see in front of the net. So the power play is still struggling. They're 2 of 10 last night, 10 shots on goal. Not ideal. Do I think they're going to get it figured out pretty quickly? Yeah, hopefully, because, as we know, that this is a team that needs power play goals, that they're strong on the power play. Once they get it going, they're going to be fine. But I do think they got to do a little bit more of shooting the puck, not being so cute and fancy with it. Just put the puck on net and use screens in front of the net. And Gabe Landeskog is a perfect guy to do that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a quote unquote permanent change with Gabe Landeskog out there on that power play 1. That would just be my gut, my opinion. And you got the game winner last night doing that. All right, other things from last night and from Tuesday against the LA Kings. I think obviously Wedgewood is creating the headlines. Don't get me wrong. And he's been awesome. But Josh Manson, once again last night, lays another massive hit. Almost looked like for a second he was going to get in a second fight in 2 games. Josh Manson's always been a physical player since he's come to Colorado. But even this looks like the most toughness, rejuvenated, whatever you want to call it. Like, this is a guy that the Avs traded for right before they won the Cup in 2022. He's stuck around. He's been a solid contributor, but he's a guy, Drew, to me that has kind of popped in these first 2 games, and he is getting a little older, but maybe a little resurgence, if you will, from Josh Manson, who's been injury riddled over the last couple seasons as well.
And that's a key word there, because what it tells me is he's healthy, because we didn't see this type of game from Josh Manson last year. He was a little bit more hesitant to lay the lumber and throw out big hits and get in fights. I don't remember him getting in a fight at all last year.
No, and that first one he was kind of baited into it, and the Kings bum got another 2 minutes for the bait, but Josh held his own in the fight.
He absolutely did. Yeah, and I think the key is he's in a spot in the lineup where he probably should be at this point of his career. He's playing in that third pairing. He's not getting as many minutes a night as he was, last season, having to play up on the second pairing with Sam Girard. So while you're playing with Sam Malinsky, a guy who's still trying to figure out how to play on the left side of the defense, it's good to see that Josh Manson's kind of taking that role in that third pairing and being that physical type player that he is. Because if he can stay healthy, I like the way that this defense is set up from top to bottom. Now, who knows what's going to happen with this new guy, Soloviev, or I can't remember. I don't even know how you say it, but he's practicing now. We'll see if he ends up taking Sam Malinsky's spot in the lineup. And then you look at this defensive core and say, wow, you're set up pretty darn well on that back end as long as everybody can stay healthy. I think I look at that second pairing right now. I questioned it a little bit at first when I saw Brent Burns and Sam Girard in that second pairing going, man, there's not a lot of defense to be played on that second pairing. But so far, it's been pretty good through 2 games. So if they can keep it up, I kind of like where this defensive core is heading as we get into game 3 of the season tomorrow night.
Yep, the Stars coming in tomorrow night. Maybe a tiny this much little bit of revenge on the line, because guess what? I know I can't wait either, but guess what? Even if they win 8-0, it doesn't change what's happened in the playoffs the last 2 years. But you know what? You can only kind of strive for first in the Central and home ice advantage if you win these type of games, because they all count the same, and you only play Dallas 4 times this season. So hopefully the Avs can get to 3-0-0. Sort of final thought from me here, and then I'll get Drew's opinion too, is listen, I think you said it best. They've really only played 2 good periods of hockey, but they are 2-0-0. They've got the 4 points. They're leading the Western Conference. I know a lot of teams have only played 1 game, but that is a refreshing mark of a good team, because I think the last couple of years, particularly without Val when he was suspended and in the program, and without Gabe going through all the knee stuff, felt like a lot of these things were a grind, and 2 points was kind of a grind. And yeah, they always got over 100, but it just, to me, they probably didn't deserve 2 points last night. I don't even know if they deserved a point, but they still got it. Mark of a good hockey team walking away with a victory on an evening where you didn't have your best stuff.
And it's finding different ways to win.
Yep.
Because we always talk about what has been kind of the issue with this Avalanche team in the past, is that they just haven't had enough depth to get enough scoring to where they can win games that it probably, frankly, we're not supposed to win. And last night was a prime example of that. You get a great goal from Ross Colton. Nathan McKinnon finally shows up on the power play. They get that goal there. But finding different ways to win when you don't have your A game, getting those other guys, those depth pieces to score. Seeing what we've seen from that third line so far, I think has been a really great sign for me. Jack Drury, I think, has fit right in as a 3C as opposed to a 4C. Ross Colton playing on the wing, he's been really good. I thought Victor Olofsson was great last night in that hockey game. So just finding different ways to win games when you don't have your A game is really telling to me. And I don't know, man. I cannot wait for tomorrow night. I know it's game 3 of the regular season, but anytime Dallas comes into the building now with all the stuff going on, with all the playoff disappointments the last couple of years, I look forward to playing the Dallas Stars every single time they come in now. It's like the new rivalry. It's not the Red Wings thing is done. That's been done for a while.
The Wild thing had a little blip on the radar, but it's kind of done.
The Blues are kind of fun, whatever. It's the Dallas Stars. That is the new rival. And apparently I've heard rumors that we might be getting to see the new Nordiques jerseys tomorrow night. Don't ask me how I feel about that one. I'm not wild about it. I don't understand the logic of going, with a Nordiques jersey when you're celebrating your 30th anniversary in Denver, but I digress. They are beautiful jerseys nonetheless. But tomorrow night is going to be a really fun game to see Mikko come in tomorrow night and face this Avalanche team. Hopefully keep this thing going, because we talked about all off season. You got to get out to a hot start. So far 2-0, maybe make it 3-0 tomorroall night.
Yeah, 96 will get booed every time he touches the puck at Ball Arena, that's for sure. And they teased Nordique practice jerseys today. They just skated down there at Ball Arena, came out in regular jerseys, but they were in the lockers. So maybe tomorrow night's the big reveal.
They'll probably do the tease like, what was it? The Kings did the other night, the Penguins did the other night, where they skate in their jersey they think they're going to wear, and then they come out for the opening face-off with different jerseys. We'll see. Listen, they're going to look cool, but whatever it is what it is.
Everyone loves a new jersey. Everyone loves a win even more. Avs and Stars on Saturday. Avs and Sabres Monday at 10:30 a.m. Yes, you heard that correctly. 10:30 a.m. Drew and I will be back on Tuesday to break down the next 2 games of this Avalanche journey towards the next Stanley Cup. And remember to subscribe here on YouTube so you don't miss a show. And we'll see you next week.